burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
Hello and welcome. I am Tansei Gabiao, bringing you the latest stories, insights, and updates from across the continent. Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has called for Africa to take control of its own health systems using science and innovation. He made the remarks at the closing of the 8th Galian African Forum in Dakar, which focused on health sovereignty, an imperative for Africa. In his speech, President Faye praised African scientists and countries for working together. He said health is key to freedom and dignity for all nations. He urged African countries to stop relying on foreign health systems and instead invest in research, training, and local production of vaccines and medicines. The president highlighted Senegal's efforts through the Madiba project at Institut Pasteur de Dakar, the Vision Senegal 2050 strategy, which focuses on health and industrial independence. The president also honored the winners of the 2025 Galian Africa Prize, saying their achievements show Africa's growing scientific excellence. He concluded by calling for an African pact for health sovereignty, based on solidarity, local funding, and innovation to ensure Africa can manage its own health future. The Green Climate Fund has approved a $31 million grant to Uganda in recognition of the country's success in reducing deforestation and cutting greenhouse gas emissions. This marks the first results-based payment project approved by the GCF for Uganda for Africa and for the least developed country, making it a major milestone in climate action on the continent. The project, implemented by the Food and Agriculture Organization in partnership with the government of Uganda, achieved verified emission reductions of more than 8 million tons of CO2 between 2016 and 2017 through sustainable forest management. FAO Director General Q.U. Dong-yu said the approval demonstrates how results-based finance can reward effective climate action and benefit both people and nature. He noted that Uganda's experience shows how early investments in readiness and capacity building can bring long-term benefits for forests, food security, and communities. The funds will be used to strengthen community-based forest management, improve land rights, and promote local food security. The program also aims to create alternative income opportunities, enhance governance, and reduce conflicts over forest resources. The initiative is aligned with Uganda's National Red Plus strategy and its commitments under the Paris Agreement, helping the country move toward a more climate-resilient and sustainable development path. Zimbabwe and Zambia picked Synergy Consulting Ltd as lead financial advisor for their planned $4.5 billion Bakota George hydropower dam project. The joint venture on the Zambezi River is expected to supply the two countries with as much as 2,400 megawatts of electricity upon completion. The tender process is expected to start in the second quarter of the next year. Synergy, based in Virginia near Washington, will help prepare a request for proposals, shortlist potential bidders, and provide other services. Munyardazi Mundowafa, the Zambezi River Authority's chief executive officer, said, "The deal with the U.S. firm, which has had extensive experience with working with the World Bank, the International Finance Corporation, and other development institutions, was signed earlier this month," he added. Construction of the dam project was initially scheduled to start in 2020, but was delayed due to the onset of the coronavirus pandemic and difficulties in securing funding. Zambia previously withdrew from the 2019 contract that had been awarded to General Electric Co. and Power Construction Corporation of China, citing irregular procurement methods. The dam will be developed as a public-private partnership with the two governments retaining a control stake, Mr. Mundowafa said.
They shaped history. They inspired generations. They are the notables. Join us as we honor Africa's greatest minds and trailblazers, the notables, celebrating Africa's icons.
Chinua Achebe, a towering figure whose writing helped shape modern literature in the 20th century, a Nigerian novelist, poet, and critic.
In 1930, in the quiet Igbo town of Ogidi in eastern Nigeria, a child was born who'd one day give Africa its most powerful literary voice. His name was Chinua Achebe, the writer who told the world to hear Africa's heartbeat through words. He was honored with over 30 honorary degrees, countless awards, and in 2007, he received the Man Booker International Prize for Lifetime Achievement.
Join us in honoring the legacy of a true literary icon, Chinua Achebe.
President Julius Maada Bio has formally recognized 17 new paramount chiefs across Bo, Port Loko, Cambia, Falaba, Karin, and Tonkololi districts, highlighting the crucial role of chieftaincy in peace, unity, and national development. The chiefs elected between 2024 and 2025 received their staffs of office in accordance with the Chieftaincy Act of 2009. President Bio urged them to mediate local disputes, mentor youth, promote peace, and support government initiatives, including the fight against the harmful drug Kush. Minister of Local Government Tamba Lamina noted that the new appointments bring the total recognized paramount chiefs to 77 since 2018, reflecting the government's commitment to strengthening traditional governance. The ceremony marked another milestone in President Bio's engagement with Sierra Leone's Chieftaincy Institution for National Development. Popular singer and actress Muma Gift Eke, also known as Muma G, has launched the Youth Empowerment Center, Youth Reform 360 in River State. The dedication ceremony was held at the Prestige Gospel Center in Muguboba, Port Harcourt. The center, set to officially open today, will empower 23,000 youths every year across all 23 local government areas in the state. The program focuses on registration, rehabilitation, reorientation, reform, and reintegration of vulnerable individuals aged 10 to 50. Including both locals and non-residents. The foundation will start a sensitization and empowerment program in Ahoda East LGA on December 1st, followed by an investiture dinner for patrons on December 25 in Port Harcourt. This initiative builds a Muma G's African Talent Pool project launched in 2023, which empowered youths through talent discovery in arts and craftsmanship. The Youth Reform 360 program highlights Muma G's dedication to transforming lives, promoting youth development, and creating opportunities for a brighter future in River State. GE Aerospace, a world-leading provider of jet and turboprop engines, integrated systems, and aviation services, has presented an achievement award to Mesfin Taso Bakala, Group Chief Executive Officer of Ethiopian Airlines, in recognition of his outstanding leadership and exceptional contribution to the growth, modernization, and transformation of aviation across the African continent. The honor celebrates Mesfin Taso's visionary leadership and unwavering commitment to excellence, which has been instrumental in positioning Ethiopian Airlines as Africa's leading aviation group and a globally recognized success story. Under his stewardship, the airline has continued to expand its modern fleet powered by GE Aerospace engines while embracing cutting-edge technologies that enhance operational efficiency, sustainability, and service quality. Speaking at the event, Russell Stokes, President and CEO of GE Aerospace Commercial Engines and Services, praised Mesfin Taso's exceptional leadership and long-term vision.
Ethiopian Airlines has long been a beacon of excellence in African aviation, setting the standard for innovation, reliability, and growth. From its beginnings nearly 80 years ago, Ethiopian Airlines has grown into one of the most respected carriers in the world, connecting Africa to the globe and fostering economic development across the continent.
During the ceremony, Avram Masinga, United States Ambassador to Ethiopia, also delivered remarks commending Ethiopian Airlines' achievements and its contribution to the continent and beyond.
Ethiopian Airlines has long stood as a beacon of excellence, not just for Ethiopia, not just for Africa, but as was said before, the world. Under the capable leadership of CEO Mesfin Taso, the airline has reached new heights, expanding routes, improving service, enhancing safety and efficiency, something that we all see and experience ourselves.
Accepting the award, Ethiopian CEO Mesfin Taso expressed his gratitude and emphasized the importance of collaboration in driving success.
Even though I received this award personally, I believe I do not deserve to keep it only for myself. It is shared among all the different exceptional teams that worked with me at different times of my tenure in Ethiopian Airlines. Therefore, this is for us, for the dedicated team at Ethiopian Airlines, but also including the GE team who have partnered with us for more than a decade now.
Now to business news. The government of Ghana is seeking a $2.3 billion investment to modernize the Volta Aluminum Company as part of the efforts to revitalize the aluminum industry and create thousands of jobs. Lands and Natural Resources Minister Emmanuel Arma Kofi Bua, during a visit to the smelter in Temma, said the government is moving from discussions to concrete action. We don't want to do the talk shop anymore. We really want to get to the chase and see the things we can practically start, he said. The minister noted that several investment proposals are being reviewed with the aim of choosing partners committed to Ghana's aluminum industrialization plan. The minister and the technical teams at Valco are working to break the cycle of the delays that are hindering the progress. Modernizing Valco is key to Ghana's goal of creating a full aluminum industry that processes local bauxite and develops downstream manufacturing. The initiative also aligns with broader plans to boost industrialization, reduce raw material exports, and strengthen Temma's position as a key industrial hub. Finally, a new GSMA report projects that Africa's mobile sector will contribute $270 billion to the continent's GDP by 2030, up from $220 billion in 2024, sustaining around 7.4% of economic output. The growth is driven by an expanding subscriber base, rising from 710 million in 2024 to 915 million in 2030, and more mobile internet users increasing from 416 million to 576 million. Expansion of 4G and 5G networks will further accelerate this trend. The sector already supports 5 million direct and 3 million indirect jobs, a figure expected to grow with $77 billion in infrastructure investments by 2030. Increased connectivity will boost SMEs, e-commerce, digital banking, and remote work, helping diversify Africa's economy and promote digital inclusion. Enhanced connectivity is also set to benefit small and medium enterprises, enabling e-commerce, digital banking, and remote work, bridging the urban-rural divide and empowering undeserved communities. Analysts say the mobile sector could play a key role in diversifying Africa's economy and reducing reliance on traditional sectors such as agriculture and mining. Next, let's check the current weather forecast. Thanks for joining us on Pulse of Africa News. Keep following us for more stories that matter across the continent.
They shaped history. They inspire generations. They are the notables. Join us as we honor Africa's greatest minds and trailblazers, the notables, celebrating Africa's icons.
Today, we turn our attention to Chinua Achebe, a towering figure whose writing helped shape modern literature in the 20th century. A Nigerian novelist, poet, and critic, Achebe is best known for his groundbreaking novel, Things Fall Apart, a powerful exploration of colonialism and African identity that has become a classic of world literature. Through his work, Achebe gave voice to African experiences, reshaping how the world would understand African history, culture, and storytelling. Chinua Achebe received numerous prestigious awards and recognitions throughout his life for his profound contribution to literature, particularly for his role in shaping African literature and post-colonial discourse. Some of the most notable awards and honors include Man Booker International Prize in 2007, Commonwealth Pottery Prize in 1972, the Nigerian National Order of Merit in 1979, Peace Prize of the German Book Trade in 2002. Chinua Achebe also received over 30 honorary doctorates from universities around the world, including Harvard University, University of London, University of South Africa, Brown University, and many more. Please join us in honoring the legacy of a true literary icon, Chinua Achebe.
In 1930, in the quiet Igbo town of Ogidi in eastern Nigeria, a child was born who would one day give Africa its most powerful literary voice. His name was Chinua Achebe, the writer who told the world to hear Africa's heartbeat through words. Achebe grew up between two worlds. On one side, the Christian teachings of his missionary parents, and on the other, the ancient oral traditions of the Igbo people. This intersection of cultures would shape his imagination, his identity, and ultimately his mission as a writer. From the very beginning, Achebe understood the power of stories. His mother and elder sister often told him folk tales full of wisdom, humor, and lessons about life. He listened to the elders as they recounted the history of his people around the hearth fire. These voices gave him a foundation that was both deeply African and profoundly human. At school, Achebe encountered another kind of storytelling, the literature of the British Empire. He read Shakespeare, Dickens, and English poets, but he also discovered novels where Africans were portrayed as savages, without culture, without dignity, and without history. He once recalled reading Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, a book celebrated in Europe but deeply offensive to him as an African. To Achebe, it was clear Africa needed its own storytellers. Achebe's formal education took him from mission schools to the University of Ibadan, one of the first universities in Nigeria. There, he studied English, history, and religion, immersing himself in both Western and African traditions. It was at Ibadan that he began to realize that writing was not just about craft, it was about truth and responsibility. A writer, Achebe believed, had a duty to his people. He once said, "Until the lions have their own historians, the history of the hunt will always glorify the hunter." This conviction drove him to pick up his pen and reclaim Africa's story. After graduation, Achebe worked at the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, where he sharpened his skills as a storyteller and engaged with the pressing issues of a young nation approaching independence. But it was in 1958 that he took the bold step that would change world literature forever. Achebe published his first novel, Things Fall Apart, in 1958. It told the story of Okonkwo, a proud and ambitious Igbo man whose life unraveled as European missionaries and colonial administrators imposed themselves on his society. The novel did something extraordinary. It placed Africans at the center of their own story. It showed that Igbo culture was not primitive, but rich with laws, customs, poetry, and philosophy. It showed that colonialism was not a civilizing mission, but a disruption, one that tore apart families, faiths, and futures. For Africans, Things Fall Apart was a mirror. For the rest of the world, it was a revelation. It became the first widely read African novel in English, translated into more than 50 languages and selling over 20 million copies worldwide. Achebe had given Africa a literary voice, one that the world could not ignore. Achebe did not stop there. He went on to write No Longer at Ease, 1960, Hour of God, 1964, A Man of the People, 1966, and later Antilles of the Savannah, 1987. Each book explored modernity to the corruption of post-colonial governments to the struggle for identity in a changing world. He also wrote poetry, essays, and children's stories, believing that every generation needed stories told in its own language. Achebe became not only a novelist but also an editor and a mentor. Through the African Writers series at Heinemann, he helped publish the works of writers like Nguwa Thiongo, Amata Idio, and Wole Soyinka. In doing so, he opened the doors for hundreds of African voices to be heard. More than a writer, Achebe was a cultural ambassador. He spoke across continents, challenging stereotypes about Africa. He insisted that Africans were not voiceless or primitive, but heirs to civilization as complex and profound as any in the world. He once remarked, "The writer cannot be excused from the task of re-education and regeneration that must be done. In fact, he should march right in front." Achebe's essays like An Image of Africa boldly criticized European classics that dehumanized Africans. He called out Conrad's Heart of Darkness as racist, igniting debates in universities that still continue today. To Achebe, literature was not just art, it was a tool for truth, conscience, and nation building. Achebe's life was not without hardship. In 1967, during the Nigerian Civil War, he supported the secessionist state of Biafra, where he saw immense suffering and devastation. His writings from this period, poems like Refugee Mother and Child, captured the human cost of conflict. Later in 1990, Achebe suffered a car accident that left him paralyzed from the waist down. But even in a wheelchair, his spirit remained unbroken. He continued to teach, to write, and to inspire. The same year, an international conference was held for his 60th birthday, titled Eagle on Iroko. The Iroko tree, one of the strongest and tallest in Africa, was a fitting symbol for Achebe, a towering presence in literature deeply rooted in his people's heritage. Over his lifetime, Achebe authored, co-authored, and edited 17 books. His influence stretched across continents, from Lagos to London, from Harvard to Johannesburg. He was honored with over 30 honorary degrees, countless awards, and in 2007, he received the Man Booker International Prize for Lifetime Achievement.
I was overjoyed when I was told that I had been awarded the Man Booker International Prize for 2007. I'm grateful to everyone who had a hand in this process. I'm grateful to all of you.
But perhaps his greatest legacy was his role as a moral compass. Achebe consistently spoke against corruption, injustice, and betrayal of African ideals. He reminded leaders that power without accountability was dangerous and that literature could serve as the conscience of a nation. Chinua Achebe passed away in 2013 at the age of 82, but his words live on. They live in classrooms where students read Things Fall Apart for the first time. They live in the works of African writers who followed in his footsteps. They live in every African story, boldly told, as in every voice that refuses silence. Chinua Achebe once reflected on his love for stories, saying it began in a small Nigerian village, but it grew into a mission to give voice to an entire continent. Today, he is remembered as the father of modern African literature, a man who gave Africa back its story, its dignity, and its voice.
They shaped history. They inspire generations. They are the notables. Join us as we honor Africa's greatest minds and trailblazers, the notables, celebrating Africa's icons.